Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel where I share great ideas. Most of the ideas that I've shown you is on woodwork, and I do a lot of other things besides as well, mechanical and metalwork. Now a lot of you've kind of wondering what's happened to me because I haven't posted anything, but this summer my wife had a hip surgery and I've been taking care of her, and of course dirt biking, and that's what you do in the summertime. But winter's coming on and my lathe needed some work done on it, and it started raining here, so good time to put it in the carport here and do some remodeling. A lot of the work I had to do was grinding and welding, etc. So I'm going to show you how I modified the lathe here. Yeah, these glasses kind of turn dark, so I can take them off. I can still see pretty good. Kind of wondering who maybe I am. But one of the things that I wanted to do is to modify the tailstock here. I had, as you've seen in other videos probably, I had two bolts that bolted it down to the ways. This lathe is homemade, and bolt front and back. I wanted to modify it so I had operated by one lever, and also the tailstock. I wanted to modify it, and this is my modification here. I'll show you how it works in a minute here. But what I had before, I'll just grab it here. And it worked well. Super heavy duty and thing there. And then it used one bolt to bolt it down. And again, it took time to loosen it up and move it. So I wanted something that would work like a bought one. So anyway, I'll show you how I did that, and later on we'll show it all together and working. So I'll just get set up here and show you what I did. So the first thing that I did, and it's one reason why I had it outside rather than in the shop to do this job, is that these pieces of metal here, I had left it with the black oxide on, and then it was painted over, and the tailstock didn't slide very well on that. You had to two bolts here, loosen those with wrenches and then move it and that. So I thought, well, if I take and grind this all off and grind the bottom of that so it's nice shiny metal on shiny metal, it'll move a lot better. So that was the first job that I did, to get those surfaces all done up slick. And then I had to figure out how to make a locking mechanism, and of course you know that if you've been around lathe, it's an eccentric mechanism there. So I took a piece of bar stock that I had. I have different sizes of scrap metal around. All the work that I did on here was just what I had on hand. So I took a piece of metal, laid it down to the size to fit a piece of pipe. There's a piece of pipe, and drilled the hole off center, so it's off center. So this would, and this goes down to the very bottom where to pull on the tightening mechanism. And here's the piece of metal that I made here. Again, a scrap piece of metal, two pieces on the top. That goes underneath, and then these things guide it in and keep it centered in between those two ways. A lot of these things that I did on here, I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I started. I don't work from plans. I just go ahead and start and solve the problems as I go. Saves a lot of time that way. Actually, you start thinking about it and trying to draw plans that take forever. So that's that. And then the handle mechanism is just, I found a bolt that was about the right length, and put a nut on the end. And I wanted a real nice handle, so I used a golf ball on the end. And this piece here is a spare half-inch drive extension that I had, and I thought that was kind of cool. It's nice and shiny, and so I welded that on. So, and this goes on here, and to secure it on there, I used a pin, and I just pin it through there. And when I was doing this, I thought, oh, I don't have to drill all the way through. I can just drill part way. And then I was thinking, oh, maybe I better drill it all the way through. And I was glad I did in the end, because then I can take it in or out. You can push it through one side or the other. So that was part of my design there. To do this, to modify the bottom of the tailstock, this was all just one plate before, and then I drilled 4 holes, used a zip saw, and cut a hole out here so I'd have access to the inside there. And then these pieces here, I cut them out of a piece of solid bar stock to fit the gap in the ways there. And then I just used my old bolt holes with a small bolt to bolt them in place, get everything lined up. And then I just had to weld it in a couple spots here, keep those on, and it seems to work quite well. And then I drilled through the side here, again, just where I figured it would work, and then machined a couple bushings. And then that goes right through there, and then this is held in the eccentric's held in the center there. That's all there is to it. So I'll go ahead and assemble that. Takes a little fiddling around there, and then I'll show it to you when I get it done there. Okay, here it is all assembled and on the lathe. Of course, it's on backwards because I'm on this side because of the light. But anyway, it slides nicely back and forth. A little bit of wax on there, it worked good. And then you'll just bring that up, and it's solid as a rock on there. That's going to make it so much easier. I really like this tailstock. I of course built it myself, and which I'll demonstrate later or in another time, is this mechanism here for drilling or advancing. You have the hand wheel, and then you can drill with I have a handle on here, and for drilling it works super good, because on a homemade lathe you just used a regular thread, V-pointed thread, so you don't have the it doesn't react to pressure that well because it wedges itself in there. But with this mechanism I can drill anything I want to drill into end grain or whatever very quickly. So anyway, now I'll show you the tool post holder. That took a lot more work. This just took time machining, but it came out very successful. But the other one took a little bit more thought. Again, it was just with materials that I used. To build the tool post holder, it's a little bit more complicated because I had to start right from scratch. But what I did was took a piece of pipe and cut it in half. So I used 1/2 to make the thing, so it's got a nice rounded surface here. And then to widen out the surfaces here on the back side, I just welded some flat stock steel that I had in there. I actually had one piece that was scrap, and I had to cut it in half one side for I didn't have the right width that I wanted, but just cut it with a zip saw. And yeah, and then the tool post, similar to what I had before here, that'll hold the tool post here, a piece of pipe. And then I machined a fairly good insert that went inside there to give it to the 1-inch diameter that most lathes are. And then the mechanism, I had a piece of shafting that somebody gave me. Somebody said they thought it looked like it was out of a outboard motor or something like that. And then on the outer ends here, I had to make take a piece of metal, 1-inch, and drilled it off center. And then you put one on one side and one on the other side, just lined up there. And I wondered how I was going to put those on, but I finally come to the conclusion that I needed to remove them, be able to remove them. So I used, I put an Allen-headed, put a set screw. They're fastened with set screws. And to get them so they would index in the right place, I drilled a little hole in there. So it goes right in there and it comes out really solid there. And then to keep it in place, end to end, I made these little collar things here out of another brown stock. So then that holds it in position. So these end plates that I put on here were from a 1/2-inch thick piece of bar stock and welded onto the end. And of course I had to bore that hole out there. So to put this together, I could probably show you how I have to put it together. And of course on the other thing in the center, another piece of machined part. Actually, that piece I believe was a piece of hydraulic cylinder. And then on both of I made use fine thread there. So to assemble this, of course I have to have the collar off. And then feed it through the hole, and then you have to put your slide on there, and then I'll put this on. So once you got it set up, it's fairly easy to, then I put a little felt mark there so I know where the hole is. Okay. And then that goes there. Now I can put them both through there. Okay. And then I'll just stick a collar on the end of there. Oops, I got the wrong one there. Okay. Okay, and that's all there is to it. Now with that, I'm using the same sort of setup underneath there to line that up. And now you can slide it anywhere you want. Took me a while to figure out what to do for a handle here. There's a spline on here. And I finally reasoned that you needed to leave this long so you could get right close, get this post up towards the center of your lathe if you needed it. So I come up with this idea. I took a socket, it's actually a 15 millimeter socket and a bolt, and machined it down. Then ground this very carefully till it would fit on there. Now I can, with that on there, I can actually put this in any position that I want. So I think that was a bonus. I was going to just weld the bolt to here, but then I wasn't sure when you moved it over here whether you interfere or get in the right place. But yet when it's out here, maybe you want this towards the bottom, out of your way. So that kind of turned into a bonus there, I think. I think that's going to work fairly well there. So, yeah, so this just needs painted and then, of course, yeah, I forgot to mention here, drill a hole through here, through both of them, and use a tapped it to fine, half-inch fine tap there. So short half-inch bolt goes in there, and I can make a little handle for that as well. I haven't done that yet, but in fact, the last number of years that I've used this lathe, I've just used a half-inch bolt and a wrench. I originally had planned to, and I did use that for quite a while, is a set screw and an Allen head, which might do too, and then just kind of weld them together, and you got an automatic handle on there. So anyway, I'll do some more work on this, get things painted up, and we'll be able to show you it in operation. But yeah, it's been a busy summer with everything going on, and just haven't got anything posted at all. But looking forward to more things this winter. Okay, here's the lathe with the parts that I showed you previously, all painted, and it's assembled on the lathe. The lathe has now been moved into the shop for the winter. Yeah, I had to use it outside there too because I was grinding and sparks flying everywhere. You wouldn't want that in the shop. So anyway, I've got it here. I've used it a little bit, and it's just working fantastic. This is the tool post, and it's painted, and it slides around so easy, and then locks up, and it's solid on there. So that works out good. I like this idea of the socket and the bolt here that I made for the handle. I did the same thing for this here. I put a socket on there, welded a bolt to it, and then the advantage of this, of course, I can change it again, like I explained to you on this one here, to a different position if I don't like that. And so that's about that. And then the tailstock here, it slides nice and easy here. Of course, it's big and heavy, so it just doesn't go by itself. And then, of course, locks up, and it's solid as can be. And so I'm really happy with that. Works well. And I'm going to be doing some more different turnings this winter here, so you'll get to see it in operation quite a number of times. One other thing that I did to this lathe that I haven't shown you yet is when I built this originally, I only had a piece of metal here that was so long. So the bed was 6 inches lower here, and I always had to bend over. So while I had it out of the shop improving it, I took and cut this off here. You can actually see where that is there. And I put another section in there and brought it up to where it's comfortable for me. And then, so that was this end, raised that end, and we'll get a shot of this end here. Then on this end I was wondering what to do, make a metal bracket, and I decided, well, just take a piece of wood, that's easier, and put some, bought long bolts that would go through there and just bolted it down. This lathe is really unique as far as the lathe goes, because the whole base is what you stand on. This is all part of the lathe, so it makes this is extremely heavy under here. Big steel pipes and a steel checker plate bottom there, and it doesn't bounce around. I can take something that's quite off center, and it doesn't vibrate in that. So anyway, after I did that, I cleaned up the shop and arranged stuff so things weren't over all over the place, and I was cramped in here. If you remember my other videos here, I had a table here, and I moved that all out, arranged things really nice. Another thing that I did here was, so the shavings fly all over the shop, so I made these just with some pipe and some plastic, and then I can just bring that up and up there. And the same on this side over here. Is I got one there that I can just bring over like that, and that's done there. And then I put one here too, and that will come out all the way over to here. And I can put another one over here, and I'm in my little cocoon here, just having a great time. But yet I can walk right outside here. That's why it's in two pieces. Walk in and out. And it's easy to move. So another thing I just was thinking here, I mentioned, is this tool holder. I thought this was kind of something I made up just quick like there one day because the tools were all over the place. But the advantage of this is you can move it. If you're making something short or doing a bowl, you can just swing it over to where you're working, and you just pick up your tools and so on and so forth there. A lot of people have better setups than this, but this works for me, so you might find that interesting too. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to be doing some stuff here. I'll show you what the next video is going to be on. I've already started it. Okay, the next video is going to be on inside-outside turning. There's lots of YouTube videos on that, but some of the times some things that I do are a little bit different, and you might get some good ideas. This one's quite interesting. It's got a light inside here that's got its own program, so it only comes on for 6 hours. So I have it at night, and these are heart-shaped here, and it shines hearts on the ceiling, 4 hearts, which is quite interesting. So this is what I'll be doing in the next video. And then I'm also working on inside-outside Christmas ornaments too, so that's going to be interesting. Anyway, stay tuned, subscribe, and good things are coming this winter. It's kind of been a famine this summer, but had a great time on the dirt bikes. So anyway, I'm going to get to work, and stay subscribed, and you'll see what I'm going to do next.